What's good, Tamers? Today we're bringing you a slugfest between UlforceVeedramon and ShineGreymon on the right. I think these decks are actually pretty even, and this is actually a finals here at Chaos Games in North Dakota. But with that said, let's get into it. So it looks like we got a Vmon in the back row of the Ulforce, and then a Corjamon for 6, drawing those 2 cards, passing the turn over to ShineGrey, who starts off with a Salamon in the back row, a Kari to start setting up some future turns and getting that extra memory when they can. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and think about what they want to play for a little bit. And hard playing a Sakuyamon. So this is going to shut down that Vmon coming up from the back row, even with the jamming. But looks like Ulforce is going to Digivolve into the Air Veedramon from the starter, get some extra security attacks with the more cards that they have, and then go straight into SlayerDramon. Now that's big because SlayerDramon's going to get that +1 security attack, so checking 2 right off the bat, and looks like they hit a TK and a Kari. Ooh, and then going into Omnimon, so that's a big play. It's going to restand and attack, getting another 2 security checks. And it looks like they hit a TK, revealing a Magna Angemon, and then replacing that. So just right off the bat, in just 2 turns, the ShineGrey player is now at 1 security, and kind of on the back foot for this, looking at an Omnimon. So they attack him with a Salamon, it gets deleted, and they're going to go ahead and replace 1 security for that, keeping them at 2. So ShineGrey is on the back foot, but they do have 6 memory, and we have a Wyvern's Breath coming out. This is actually going to misplay from the Ulforce player, as Omnimon's effect doesn't keep it alive from -DP effect, so it should actually be destroyed. This is going to affect the game, so we'll make sure we catch those more in the future. So the Vmon goes into the back row, we have Omnimon attacking in for 2 security, bringing them down to 0, and then Vmon taking the game from there. While we're waiting for the players to shuffle up into Game 2, leave a comment below, what is your favorite Mega, and do you want to see a deck built around that? Starting off Game 2, we have the Ulforce player going into Demi-Vmon and then hard playing that Corjamon. Looks like they missed a rookie, passing the turn over to ShineGrey, who gets a Salamon in the back row, and then plays the now restricted, or soon to be restricted, Reinforced Memory Boost, and you'll see just how powerful that card is, pulling a ShineGreymon to hand, and then a TK and Kari in the security. Speaking of which, we got a Kari in the back row, setting up a pretty solid board for the Shine player. Ulforce is just going to go in and attack with the Corjamon, and it looks like they hit another Tamer, and finally getting that rookie that's needing the backward to start working up their line, getting a Colamon to have a future blocker, and then hard playing a Vmon. Remember, choking their opponent just a little bit at 1, but they do have the Reinforced Memory Boost that gives them +3, so it's going to boost them up to 4. Putting down a Baluchamon and then going straight into another Reinforced Memory Boost. And as you can see, this card is just powerful. The ShineGreymon player is back up to 6 memory, has a decent amount of Tamers in the back, as well as a card in the rookie slot with another Reinforced Memory Boost to boost them up for their following turn. So the Ulforce player is going to go into the Air Veedramon, or Aero Veedramon, in the back row, looking like they're trying to build up their Mega and just keep it safe from any possible Wyvern's Breath or anything that could delete it. And then throwing out another Corjamon, setting their opponent to 3, drawing those 2 cards, and just getting a decent amount of card advantage right now. So like I said, these 2 decks are pretty evenly matched, both still at 5 security. And then we see the Rise Greymon come out, throwing another Tamer onto the field if they have it, but it looks like there was actually just a whiff on that Tamer. So they take out the Vmon, getting rid of that annoying jammer that can just start whittling away at security kind of for free. And I think that's pretty important as a Shine player so that they can keep board advantage as much as possible against their opponent. So we have the ShineGreymon player now going into Unimon for 2, cycling through the cards, and we do know that the ShineGreymon is actually still in their hands, but it seems like they want to save it for a bigger effect once they have some more Tamers, so they throw down the TK and look through their security. Let's see what they pull out of it. Looks like they're going to pull another Reinforced Memory Boost out of that, so just keeping the train going with that very powerful card that has really good effects, and then passing the turn over to the Ulforce player. So the Ulforce player is going to promote the Air Veedramon. Looks like they're ready to go into their Mega, and they do with another SlayerDramon. Going in, unblockable this turn, so the Unimon not having an effect, and checking 2, 3 cards, doing some massive damage to the security player, and then going right back into Omnimon again, who is going to restand and have another 2 security checks right there. Kind of interested why the Unimon didn't block the Omnimon this turn, but they might have a strategy for that, so let's see what the ShineGreymon player can do. Big swap in security now, 5-0, and board state looks pretty even at this point when it comes to Digimon. So they're going to hatch an Upamon, go into the Salamon with a ridiculous amount of memory, and we do know that the ShineGreymon is still in their hands, and they have 5 Tamers in the back row, so there goes that ShineGreymon. Looks like they are going to suspend 4 of their Tamers to get rid of the Omnimon. This time the effect being done properly on this one, and going down to 5 memory. So looking at a Soul Cordramon against 3 other Digimon, and still a decent amount of memory and Tamers. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and also use that 5th Tamer on the Cordramon, bringing it down by 4,000. And swinging in with Shine Gray. Since it's on top of the Rise Greymon, it's going to get that extra security attack. Checking the UlforceVeedramon player down to 3, looking to make a comeback. Unimon attacking and reducing the Cordramon down to 0, while also checking security. So now we've got a big swing on the other side, and this is what I was talking about, just haymakers being thrown from both players, and really showing what both decks can do with their boss Digimon. And then we have another reinforcement memory boost coming down to just kind of set up the next turn, set up the security so it's not an instant win for the UlforceVeedramon. And it looks like they're going to have to rebuild, pretty much start the game over now at this point, against a massive ShineGreymon board at this point. So the Vmon from the starter deck comes down. It does have that special ability where it can Digivolve into Omega if your opponent has a level 6 Digimon on their side, but they're going to get rid of that, bounce it back to the hand, and the opponent, the ShineGreymon player, is going to go all the way back up to 8 memory with the reinforced memory boost in the back row as well. This looks like some pretty difficult odds to overcome. You got the Ankylamon and the Unimon both representing lethal on board, so Ankylamon's going to go in, and then we have the final attack coming in from the Shikakumon, bringing the score 1-1. All right, game 3, and it looks like for this one we actually have the Ulforce player going first again, getting out that Vmon from the starter deck in the back row, and we see a blue memory boost for the first time. Looking through the cards, we see Vmon, Cordramon, Matt, and a Dracomon. For the Ulforce player, we see the Bushi Agumon, and looks like they're just going to go straight into TK and look through the security, setting the Ulforce to 1. They play a Colamon, keeping their Digimon in the back row. And then it looks like we have another blue memory boost coming out, so setting up that extra memory that we can get for the Ulforce player later on. And looking like they have some pretty decent choices to pick from, and they're going to go ahead and grab the Monzimon, setting up that ultimate. Probably going to Digivolve that on the Colamon in the upcoming turns, or maybe even hard casting it, since it is a pretty low cost to get an ultimate out. Now we see Bushi Agumon swinging into security, hitting the Hammer Spark, so that's going to give 2 more memory to the Ulforce player. And then a reinforced memory boost coming down, looking like a Unimon and a ShineGreymon. Looks like they're going to take the ShineGreymon, putting the Unimon in the security, and leaving the Ulforce player with 5 memory, plus the 2 memory boosts that they have in the back row. So we see the Monzimon coming out for 2, leaving them at 3, and we're probably expecting a Ulforce coming out, especially with them boosting up the memory to 2, by 2, and we see that starter deck UlforceVeedramon coming out. So pretty powerful effect. Going to bounce that Bushi Agumon off the board, go ahead and get a swing, and it looks like it's going to be just a Unimon off the security, restanding and then swinging again, hitting a Kari. So this is going to set up a decent amount of memory for the ShineGreymon player, and then we see a hard calling of a Vmon coming out. So setting up a very offensive board for the ShineGreymon player, who goes into a Upamon and then a Salamon in the back row. Not quite at 3 security yet for its effect, so setting that up for future turns. Popping that reinforced memory boost to get the 3 memory to play the TK and the Kari dual tamer, and going into another reinforced memory boost So just keeping that security back up to 5 now, and we see the TK and a reinforced memory boost. This is one of the reasons that the card in the future is going to be restricted. It's just so powerful. Gets you card draw and security, and just that knowledge of what's going into your security, which is just bonkers. So we see the UlforceVeedramon player kind of going in the tank a little bit, thinking about how to re-attack the security now that they're back up to 5. Knowing what's on the top, they swing in with the Veedramon first, getting that TK to hit the board. And then we're going to have to wait for the ShineGreymon player to figure out what card they want to pull. Looks like they go for a RiseGreymon. So really setting up that future Shine play. Going down to 4 security. UlforceVeedramon swinging in. Looks like they hit a ShineGreymon, which is kind of unfortunate, but we're assuming that they probably already have one in hand. And then a Wyvern's Breath. So that's kind of painful for the UlforceVeedramon player, as they don't really have a whole bunch of Digimon right now, so they're going to have to kind of start rebuilding up from that stack. And it looks like a Cordramon's just going to come out for 6, getting the 2 cards in hand, and then passing the turn over to the ShineGreymon player, who swings in with Salamon. That go ahead and gets deleted, so they're going to recover right there, up the 3 security again. And it's just really hard to take down security in Shine Gray, or just yellow in general, with that reinforced memory boost. Beluchimon coming out, drawing them a card since they are at 3 security. Then we see the memory reinforcement go ahead and getting used, pushing them up so that they can extend their turn further with the RiseGreymon play, drawing the card off the Digivolution, and now deciding whether or not they want to use the ability to play a Tamer. Not going to get the effect from it, but it will set up future plays with ShineGreymon, just getting another Tamer on the board to increase its ability to pretty much board wipe and take out any strong Digimon. So we do see the ShineGreymon coming out for 4. That's going to thoroughly get rid of the Cordramon's on the UlforceVeedramon player side of the field. And let's see how they can come back from this. So they just hard play a Madashita, giving their opponent a decent amount of memory, once again, just because all the Tamer stacking and being at 3 security. So you have Hikari, as well as the dual Tamers, and the TK making the baseline for that 3. So they're going to start their turn with 8 memory and a ShineGreymon out, hatching an Upamon, and just going into the tank a little bit, thinking about what they want to do. The UlforceVeedramon player still has 4 security, so that is a decent amount, and they're not going to be memory locked anymore for the rest of the game. So ShineGreymon goes ahead and swings, checking 2, but we do have the Cordramon's coming out onto the field from the security, drawing UlforceVeedramon 2 cards, and giving them just another Digimon to work with for their following turn. Then we see a hard called Shakumon that's going to make pretty much any Digimon that doesn't have a Digivolution source kind of useless, and really good in this matchup for getting rid of any hard called jamming Veedramons or just the Cordramon's that may come out of security. So with the turn passed over at 4, we got the UlforceVeedramon looking at their options, so they're going to use that special ability from the Veedramon and Warp Digivolving into the UlforceVeedramon, attacking into the Shine Gray, which is now weaker on the UlforceVeedramon player's turn, getting rid of it, and now trying to mount a comeback with that Shakumon on the field. It keeps Cordramon's from being very effective, so we see the swing in from the UlforceVeedramon, checking 1. And now the blue player is in a very difficult position, because unless they pop the blue memory and have a Monzamon in hand, Cordramon's not going to be able to do anything unless it digivolves, and that's past the turn, which they do. They go to Air Veedramon. We see the promoting of the Bushiagu. Shakumon attacks in, and it looks like there's some chat on what ends the game there. So Shakumon swings, Bushiagu swings, and I think the final part of this conversation is if there is a Bushiagumon in hand of the ShineGreymon player for 5, they can swing in, and there we see it, and that's going to be game 2. Well, Tamers, if you were entertained by this, please like and subscribe to the channel, as it helps us grow, and we will see you next time. Let's get that gate closed.